Imagine a face you grew up watching. Now, fast forward to 2025. Would you still know who they are? We're putting your celebrity memory to the test. You'll see how stars like Sam Elliott, Goldie Hawn, and other icons from the 70s and 80s look today. How many can you spot before we switch to their throwback photo from their glory days? Some transformations might shock you. Others might tug at your nostalgia. Stick around and comment your tally at the end. Let's see who remembers these legends best. Think you'd recognize Cheryl Lad or Patrick Duffy if you saw them today? These are the icons who defined an era, the faces that filled living rooms and magazine covers across the country in the 70s and 80s. Cheryl Lad, who played Chris Monroe on Charlie's Angels, was once the picture of glamour and youthful energy. In 2025, she turned 74. Her feathered hair and bright smile that made her a household name have softened, but she still carries herself with an elegance that stands out. The difference now is in the details. Her look is more refined, her presence more grounded. For anyone who remembers her in those iconic outfits, seeing Cheryl today is a reminder of how times change even the most familiar faces. Patrick Duffy, best known as Bobby Ewing on Dallas, is another legend whose image is forever tied to the golden age of TV drama. At 76, his appearance has shifted from the clean-cut, boyish charm of his Dallas days to a more distinguished look. You'll notice deeper smile lines and a sense of experience in his eyes, but the warmth that made him so popular with fans is still there. Even as the years have added character to his features, Patrick's expression and gestures make it clear that he's the same person who kept viewers glued to their screens every week. Now, let's talk about Goldie Hawn. She's turning 80 in 2025, and for many, she'll always be remembered from Private Benjamin. Her comedic timing and energy jumped out in every scene. But when you see Goldie now, with her features matured and her movements a bit slower, it's a real test. Did you recognize her right away? Even at 80, she lights up when the cameras are on, her signature wit and playful spark still shining through. Whether she's out in Malibu or on a red carpet, that glint in her eye is unmistakable if you look for it. Our minds freeze stars in their prime, so seeing them now can be a real double take. Which one threw you off the most so far? The changes you see aren't just about aging. Some faces are still instantly recognizable, even if their style has shifted with the times. Goldie Hawn's comedic flair hasn't faded, and Patrick Duffy's gentle charm is still there, just with a bit more wisdom behind it. Cheryl Lad's transformation is subtle. Her look is polished and graceful, but it might take a moment for her fans to connect her to the young star from Charlie's Angels. These differences show how aging can either gently reshape a celebrity's image or create a dramatic contrast that surprises even longtime fans. It's clear that time doesn't treat everyone the same. Some stars age in a way that feels natural, keeping their core personality and look intact. Others change so much that you might not recognize them at first glance. Lifestyle changes, health shifts, or just the passage of years can make their younger selves feel like a totally different person. But whether the transformation is obvious or subtle, there's no denying that these celebrities are redefining what aging looks like in Hollywood. Their stories challenge what we expect and remind us that fame doesn't freeze anyone in time. But some stars don't just let time work its magic. They take control and reinvent themselves completely. New looks, bold choices, and whole new persona can make them almost unrecognizable. Are you ready to see which legends have taken reinvention to the next level? Keep watching to find out. Some actors don't just change, they transform in ways that make you look twice. This is where reinvention takes center stage. From screen legends to new looks, some celebrities have made changes that go beyond a fresh hairstyle or a few wrinkles. Their shifts in style, attitude, and even the roles they take on can make them almost unrecognizable to longtime fans. Kathleen Turner is a clear example of this kind of reinvention. In the early 1980s, she became a star with her breakout role in Body Heat. Her deep, unforgettable voice and striking presence made her one of the decade's most talked about actresses. Now at 71, Turner's look and energy have evolved. She's moved from the sultry, commanding roles that defined her early career into works that highlights her range and experience. You see it in her interviews and recent roles. There's a sense of self-awareness and authenticity that wasn't always there in her younger years. Turner hasn't tried to hold on to her old image. Instead, she's embraced a more grounded, reflective version of herself, showing that reinvention can mean adding new layers rather than erasing the past. Diane Keaton, now 79, stands out for a different kind of transformation. She's always been known for doing things her own way, and that hasn't changed. Keaton won an Oscar for Annie Hall, and her unique style, think oversized blazers, wide-brimmed hats, and bold accessories, became her trademark. Even today, she turns heads on the red carpet with choices that are just as daring as they were decades ago. But what's changed is the confidence and maturity she brings to her look. Keaton's style doesn't follow the trends. It sets them. Fans who grew up watching her movies will recognize the same quirky charm, but there's a new kind of poise that comes with age. She's managed to keep her public persona fresh and relevant, proving that you don't have to reinvent yourself completely to stay in the spotlight. You just have to keep surprising people. For fans, these changes can be both fascinating and a little disappointing. When you see someone like Kathleen Turner or Diane Keaton today, you might need a second to connect the person in front of you with the star you remember from old movie posters. Diane's approach to aging feels natural. She's playful, ageless, and always herself. Kathleen, meanwhile, has shifted from her old Hollywood image to something more real and approachable. The fascination comes from seeing how much of the old star remains and how much is brand new. Richard Dean Anderson, best known as MacGyver, has gone through an even more dramatic shift. In his prime, Anderson was the clean-cut action hero everyone wanted to be. Now, at 75, his look is a world away from his TV days. His appearance is more rugged and weathered, with a presence that speaks of a life lived well beyond the set. Fans who remember him sprinting through explosions with a mullet and a leather jacket might be surprised by how different he looks now. The transformation is striking, not just in his face, but in his entire demeanor. Anderson's evolution is a reminder that time can change not only how stars look, but how they carry themselves and the kinds of roles they choose. Some of these reinventions make stars feel more relatable. They're no longer the untouchable celebrities frozen in their prime. They're real people who have changed, just like everyone else. For some fans, this adds a new layer of respect. Seeing a star like Anderson or Turner age and adapt can make their old roles feel even more special because you know what it took to get from then to now. But not every transformation lands the same way. Some stars, like Diane Keaton, have always had a certain playfulness, so their evolution feels right. For others, especially those whose fame was tied to a particular look or character, the change can be harder for audiences to accept. Still, whether the shift is subtle or dramatic, these reinventions play a big part in how we see celebrities as they age. They can help a star connect with new fans or distance them from the roles that first made them famous. Ready for someone who might not look like the femme fatale you remember? Let's go. Some stars manage to stay recognizable by holding on to the looks and personalities that first made them famous. But does sticking with a signature style really make them easier to spot? Or does it just make the changes more subtle? Take Sam Elliott, for example. He's built his career around a consistent image, rugged, stoic, and always with that unmistakable mustache. In 2025, Sam turns 81, and he's still the same cowboy figure that audiences have loved for decades. The mustache might be a little grayer, his hair a bit thinner, and the lines on his face deeper, but the overall effect hasn't changed. When Sam appears on screen, there's no mistaking who he is. His presence alone is enough to draw in fans who remember him from classic westerns and dramas. What stands out about Sam Elliott isn't just how he looks, but how he's managed to keep that familiar aura. He continues to choose roles that fit his established persona: wise, reserved, and quietly commanding. There's comfort in seeing him play the same kind of characters, and it helps fans feel like they're reconnecting with an old friend every time he shows up. Even as time leaves its mark, Sam's consistency gives his audience something to hold on to. It's not about pretending he hasn't aged. It's about wearing those years with pride and letting the changes add to his legacy. You can see the history in his face, but the core of who he is remains intact. Shirley Mlan offers a different example of staying true to her roots. By 2025, she'll be 91, and her career spans everything from musicals to comedies to dramatic roles that have defined entire eras of Hollywood. Shirley's elegance and sharp wit are still present, and you can see the same spark in her eyes that made her a star decades ago. The twinkle that audiences loved in her younger years hasn't faded, and neither has her ability to command attention with just a look or a quick remark. Even though her appearance has naturally changed with age, the essence of Shirley Mlan is unmistakable. She's never tried to hide from the realities of aging, and that's become part of her appeal. Fans see her as genuine and relatable, someone who embraces her past while confidently living in the present. When Shirley appears in interviews or makes a rare public appearance, the reaction is often a mix of recognition and surprise. You spot the same attitude and humor that defined her early career, but you also see the life she's lived since then. It's not just about holding on to a look, it's about maintaining the qualities that made her a legend in the first place. For both Sam Elliott and Shirley Mlan, staying visually and personally consistent helps them bridge generations of fans. People who watched them decades ago can still find pieces of the stars they remember, and new audiences can get a taste of what made them iconic. But even with these familiar faces, there's always that split second of hesitation when you see them today. Are they really the same person you remember? Or has time changed them in ways you didn't expect? Which of these evergreen icons did you spot immediately? And who surprised you? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Their ability to stay true to themselves is what keeps their legacies alive. It's a rare thing in Hollywood, where so many celebrities reinvent themselves to stay relevant. Sam and Shirley prove that sometimes the best way to stand out is to remain exactly who you are, even if that means showing every line and wrinkle along the way. Now brace yourself, these next transformations are jaw-dropping. Some transformations in Hollywood don't just surprise, they stop you in your tracks. When fans see a familiar face completely changed, it leaves a lasting impression and sparks endless conversations. The surprising transformations that left fans stunned are the ones that people talk about for years. Nick Nolte, at 84 in 2025, is one of the most talked about examples. In the 1980s and 90s, Nolte was Hollywood's idea of a leading man. Chiseled features, tousled hair, and a presence that made him impossible to ignore. His roles in films like The Prince of Tides cemented his place as a classic star. Fast forward to today, and Nolte's appearance is almost unrecognizable. His face is deeply lined, his hair wild and gray, and his overall look is more rugged than polished. That weathered, almost unkempt appearance tells a story of decades spent in the spotlight, facing both personal and professional ups and downs. What's striking isn't just how different he looks, but how much his current appearance seems to reflect his journey. The transformation is so complete that some fans have to do a double take just to be sure it's really him. Even with this dramatic change, certain things about Nolte haven't disappeared. His gravelly voice and intense eyes are still there, reminding everyone of the actor he once was. But the reaction from fans is always intense whenever new photos appear. People share their shock, compare old and new images, and debate whether they would have recognized him at all. The conversations are everywhere, from online forums to social media feeds. Some admire how Nolte has embraced his age without trying to hide it, while others are stunned by how much he's changed. His transformation stands out because it feels honest. He isn't trying to hold on to his old image, and that authenticity resonates with a lot of people. There's a sense that Nolte's looks is a badge of everything he's been through, and fans can't help but react. Pamela Anderson's transformation is different, but just as attention-grabbing. Back in the 90s, she was the ultimate symbol of glamour on Baywatch. Her image was everywhere. Red swimsuit, perfect hair, and a persona that defined a whole era of pop culture. By 2025, Pamela is 58, and her appearance has shifted in a way that almost feels like meeting a new person. Instead of the bold makeup and dramatic style that made her famous, she now appears with little to no makeup, often in casual, natural settings. The change is clear. She's chosen a softer, more understated look that feels closer to her real personality. Could you tell her apart from the beach bombshell you grew up with? For longtime fans, Pamela's evolution is fascinating. The move away from her iconic look isn't just about getting older, it's about showing a different side of herself. She stepped out of the spotlight's glare and into a version of herself that feels more relaxed and genuine. Fans notice the difference immediately, and it always becomes a topic of conversation. People compare her new style to her Baywatch days, sometimes expressing surprise, sometimes admiration. The transformation isn't as extreme as Nolte's, but the contrast between the old and new Pamela is just as powerful. It's a reminder that celebrities can choose how they want to be seen, and sometimes those choices are the most surprising of all. What makes these transformations so compelling is the way they challenge our expectations. We think we know what our favorite stars will look like, but time and personal choices can change everything. For some, like Nolte, the change is dramatic and impossible to ignore. For others, like Pamela, it's more subtle, but just as meaningful. Either way, fans are left to connect the dots between the person they remember and the person they see now. So which reveal left you more shocked? Nick Nolte's rugged new look or Pamela Anderson's calm, understated style? Comment below and let us know which transformation blew your mind the most. Time doesn't just pass, it shapes us. Even the stars we thought we'd recognize forever. When you look back at these transformations, it's clear that even the most familiar faces can surprise you. Before we go, one more time. Cheryl Lad, 74 in 2025. Patrick Duffy, 76. Goldie Hawn, 80. Who surprised you the most? Were their current looks what you expected, or did someone catch you off guard? Share your score in the comments and let us know which transformation stood out. We've only scratched the surface. Next time, we're asking if you can guess these stars by their voices alone. Hit subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss the next nostalgia challenge.